Hello everyone, welcome to Believer Science Academy Bengaluru. This is everyday news analysis session. In this session, we are going to discuss some 7 to 8 articles from various newspapers such as the Hindu, Indian Express, Business Standard, Down to Earth, etc. etc. Okay, so what are the points I say note it down, do note it down because that can be important from both prelims and mains perspective. So certain points you can use as a substantial points in your mains and certain points can directly be asked in your prelims. So do make a note of it. So the first article for today, that is 10th December 2024, is a notice. There is a notice for resolution to impeach Jagdeep Dhanakar. This is the article in the Indian Express, that is opposition set to submit notice for resolution to impeach Jagdeep Dhanakar. Another article, opposition to move notice to remove vice president. This article was there in the Hindu, this was there in the Indian Express. So a very important and relevant article for UPSC. So who is Jagdeep Dhankar? Jagdeep Dhankar is the vice president. Who is vice president? Vice president also acts as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. You know that. So first we will understand why it is in news and then we will understand the role of vice president. It is in news because opposition parties under the India Alliance or India bloc plan to submit no confidence motion or impeachment resolution against Rajya Sabha chairman and vice president Jagdeep Dhanakar. But the numbers may not be in favor of impeachment. The move is aimed at sending a political message to the ruling party. So, what are the key points in this article is, or who is the president of India? Okay, about the vice president, that is, he is the second highest constitutional office in India, modeled after American vice president. And what are the eligibility criteria for vice president? Eligibility is provided under Article 66 Clause 3. According to this, in order to be elected as a vice president, you are to be citizen of India and you have to be age of 35 years, qualified to be elected as a Rajya Sabha member and must not hold any office of profit under the government. Okay, all these provisions should be met before you are eligible for vice presidential election. And the election process is mentioned under Article 66 Clause 1. According to this, he is elected by an electoral college of members of both the houses of the parliament through proportional representation. Okay, so it is an indirect election and the electoral college consists of both elected and nominated members of both the houses of parliament only. Okay, so what is the difference from presidential election here? In presidential election, what is the electoral college? Electoral college is only elected members of parliament, meaning both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and state legislative assemblies, okay, and legislative assemblies of Delhi and Puducherry. Okay, only the elected members participate in election of president, whereas here both elected and nominated members of only parliament. There is no state legislative assembly or state legislative council, and there is no panchayat. There is no Puducherry or Delhi here. Okay, that is the difference. Meaning, it includes nominated members of the parliament, which is excluded in president, excludes state legislative assembly, which is present in parliament presidential election. And the election disputes of both president and vice president are decided by Supreme Court. So what is the tenure and removal? Tenure is provided in Article 67 and removal is provided in Article 67B. Tenure is he holds office for 5 years and he is eligible for re-election. Even the president is also eligible for re-election. Okay, and the removal in the sense he can resign to the president or be removed by. Okay, or the removal process of president or vice president is called as impeachment. Okay, this impeachment process is given under 67 Clause B. According to this, there should be a Rajya Sabha majority resolution. Any resolution or any motion for the impeachment of vice president can be introduced only in Rajya Sabha, whereas for president it can be introduced in both the houses. Lok Sabha agreement by simple majority. Once if it is passed by Rajya Sabha with a majority resolution, like majority resolution, then it is sent to Lok Sabha. In Lok Sabha, it can be passed by simple majority is enough. After that, before a motion can be introduced, it requires a 14 days of prior notice. Okay. And what is the ground for removal of vice president? There is no ground mentioned for vice president. No ground mentioned for vice president. This is very important. Whereas the ground for president is violation of constitution. Okay, but there is no such ground for vice presidential impeachment. So what are the roles and responsibilities of vice president? He is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. He presides over sessions, votes only to break ties, meaning he only has casting vote. Only has casting vote. Then he also is the acting president, that is, he acts as a president during absence, resignation, or death. But when there is a vacancy of president, then you need to conduct a presidential election within 6 months of a date. Okay, and then he is only a ceremonial role, in the sense he ensures dignity and neutrality of the office, but it is not being followed in the reality. This is about static part of this topic. Now about the current affairs, that is why it is in news. There is a notice for impeachment resolution. Okay, what are the grounds why the opposition is moving towards this extreme step? Opposition have certain concerns, that is, they accuse Dhanakar or Jagdeep Dhanakar, that is the vice president, of being partisanship towards the government. Allegations linked to naming MP Congress MP Abhishek Singhvi over the alleged currency recovery, and then claims of undermining constitutional offices and parliamentary democracy by the ruling party. Okay, so it is more of a political in nature. And then what is the constitutional basis for removal? I already explained this. That is under Article 67 Clause B. It allows removal through Rajya Sabha majority resolution, which is passed by Lok Sabha with 14 days prior notice. And then historical context. Has there been any instances previously? So the precedents of resolution, till now, no president or vice president has been impeached by in India. Okay, so there is no precedent set in India for impeachment of or no confidence motion against the Rajya Sabha chairman. Similar no confidence resolution moved against Deputy Chairman Harivansh in 2020 during the formal controversy, but it was not passed. And then there have been instances against the Lok Sabha speakers, that is, resolutions against G.V. Malwankar, who is the first speaker of Independent India, and Sardar Huksan Singh in 1966, and Balram Jhakkar were also discussed and negated, meaning they were not able to pass through the houses. Okay, so now what will be the impact of this impeachment motion? Though the impeachment motion is not going to succeed, because even if it passes through Lok Sabha, even if it passes through Rajya Sabha, but it is not going to pass through Rajya Sabha because the opposition party doesn't command the required majority in Rajya Sabha. So even though it is not going to be passed, it sends a political message to the ruling party. It sends a political message to the ruling government. Okay, see, we are not satisfied with your working. We are not satisfied with the way vice president is acting here. So we are sending you this political message. Okay, very significant, because to bring a resolution against the impeachment of vice president himself, so it is a very drastic step. Next, there is an article in the Hindu that read, approach election commission to enact POSH Act in the political parties, Supreme Court. So in this, we'll try to understand what is there in the news, and then we'll understand the basic provisions of POSH Act. Okay, it is in news because Supreme Court of India directed a petitioner seeking for the enforcement of POSH Act 2013, that is Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace Act, in political parties to approach the election commission first. Supreme Court said that if you want the POSH Act to be included in the political parties, instead of coming to Supreme Court, you should go to the election commission first, because according to Supreme Court, election commission is the competent authority to address the issues of concerning political parties. Okay, within the case, the petition was filed by Yogam MG. This includes forming internal complaints committee within the political parties. The Supreme Court stated that election commission fails to address the petition's concerns effectively. She can pursue the matter through approach to judicial forum. First, go to election commission. If election commission is not dealing with this issue, then you come back to judiciary. Okay, so that we'll wait and see. Now what we have to understand is, we have to study the key provisions of POSH Act. POSH Act becomes important for us. POSH Act 2013, that is Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, that is Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act of 2013. Its complete name. It aims to protect women from workplace sexual harassment, that is protection of women from sexual harassment in workplaces. Below are the significant provisions. What are the significant provisions? First one is it defines sexual harassment. Okay, what are the actions or what acts comes under the sexual harassment? According to this act, it includes unwelcome physical contact, sexual advances, request for sexual favors, and verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. It is not just you are going and assaulting physically. It is not just a physical assault that considers as a sexual harassment. It can be mental. It can be any of these acts that can be considered as sexual offense or sexual harassment. What is the scope of applicability? Who comes under this act? This act covers all women, including employees, interns, domestic workers across public and private sectors. It is not just the employees. It is not just the employees that comes under this one. It is all the members that work in public and private sectors that comes under this act. Then it applies to workplaces such as offices, government institutions, and non-traditional settings like NGOs and homes also. Okay, and then about internal complaints committee. Under this act, it mandates every workplace with 10 or more employees to have an internal complaints committee. What is the role of internal complaints committee? If any individual or any female feels that they are being harassed in the office, they feel that their act towards them or the act of their colleagues towards them is not in accordance with the normal behavior, then they can complain through internal complaints committee. Okay, it is composed of senior employees and external member, preferably from an NGO. Then there is local complaints committee also, which is established by district administration for workplaces with fewer than 10 employees or cases involving the employees. More than 10 employees, there is internal complaints committee. Less than 10 employees, there is local complaints committee established by the district administration. And then there is provision for redressal process also. That is, complaints of redressal must be filed within 3 months of the incident. ICC or LCC should investigate and submit the report within 90 days. And what are the penalties mandated under this act? That is, if a person is convicted or if the person is found to be involved in or indulged in a sexual harassment, the penalty is employees failing to comply with the act may face fines up to 50,000, and repeated violations can result in higher penalties or cancellation of business licenses. Okay, so what is the background of POSH Act? POSH Act was a very recent incident, like recent event. That is, it came into act as it became an act in 2013 only. Before that, you might ask me a question. Before that, were there no sexual harassment in the workplaces? There was sexual harassment in the workplace, and how were they protected? Before Parliament made an act, all these protections were given by a judicial ruling. Okay, based on the judicial order, the sexual harassment in the workplaces were reduced or were dealt by the judicial order. What is the judicial order? That we will see now. The act passed in response to the landmark 1997 Supreme Court judgment in the Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan case, which provided guidelines to address workplace sexual harassment. Okay, this is famously known as Vishaka guidelines. What are the objectives? Objective is to ensure a safe working environment and uphold gender equality as per Article 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution. Okay, what is the implementation? Despite its progressive framework, the Act's enforcement remains inconsistent, particularly in unorganized sectors and institutions like political parties. Okay, normally they are implemented properly in IT companies, properly in big industries, okay, corporates, but they are not so integrated or implemented properly in unorganized sectors or these political parties. So they say that the more highlights the absence of POSH complaints in political parties, a critical issue given in their influence in public life. Therefore, Election Commission's role as a competent authority emphasizes the importance of institutional mechanisms to enforce accountability. So now the election commission should look into the positives and negatives of enforcing post act in political parties. Okay, next, moving on to the third article. This article is also from the Hindu. It says that National Food Security Act still driven by the figures from 2011 census according to a lawyer tells Supreme Court. Okay, summary of the article is the Supreme Court observed that National Food Security Act 2013 continues to rely on the 2011 census data for calculating beneficiaries despite the significant demographic changes. Advocate Prashant Bhushan argued that this approach excludes millions of deserving individuals, particularly after the pandemic, highlighting the lack of 2021 census. This court stressed the need to coordinated efforts between center and states to address the food security insecurity. Okay, because the data is outdated, because the data is almost 20 like almost 12 years old now, 13 years old now. So many of the individuals are being excluded from the NFSA Act because they are not included in the data, because new data has been not collated. Okay, so key highlights of the article is, according to the article, the total NFSA beneficiary, meaning the act currently benefits around 81.35 crores people based on 2011 census. An updated census could potentially add 10 crore more eligible beneficiaries, argued Prashant Bhushan, who was the uh, who was the lawyer who was arguing with Supreme Court. Okay, so meaning 10 crore more persons who are eligible are being excluded under this act right now because of the lack of availability of data. Then, so what is the government stand? Additional Solicitor General, that is Aishwarya Bhati, defended the current system, maintaining that NFSA has adequately covered food security needs. Okay, then what is the court's concern? Court's concern is, Supreme Court underscores the importance of synchronizing efforts between center and states to avoid gaps in food distribution. Okay, then that is the news. Then we will try to understand the static part of the subject, the static part of the content, that is NFSA Act, that is National Food Security Act of 2013. So the NFSA aims to provide subsidized food grains to eligible households to ensure food security. What are the key features? Beneficiaries are 75% of the rural and 50% of the urban population based on the 2011 census data are covered under NFSA. Food entitlement is 5 kg of food grains per person per month at a subsidized rate, that is 3 rupees per kg of rice, 2 rupees per kg of wheat, and 1 rupees per kg of coarse grains. These are the subsidized rates at which the grains are made available to people belonging to these beneficiaries. Then target population is, at present approximately 81.35 crores are currently covered under NFSA Act. Special provisions are, there is also a provision for maternity benefit of rupees 6,000, and then there is nutritional support for pregnant women, lactating mothers and children, because they want to break this vicious cycle of malnutrition from mother to child. Then what are the issues highlighted in this articles? There is outdated data, that is reliance on 2011 excludes millions of potential beneficiaries, and the COVID-19 impact. Migrant workers and unorganized laborers have been particularly affected, because now after this one nation one ration card, if the one nation card which has been implemented properly, then they will be benefiting out of this one nation one ration card, because even if you belong to Bihar and if you are working in Karnataka, we will be able to get benefits of NFSA under the new one nation one ration card, which will be beneficial for these migrant workers. But at present it is not yet been completely implemented. So the article says that NFSA is critical for combating hunger, but updating its beneficiary is the need of the hour, so that it can be the benefits of NFSA can be accrued to all the beneficiaries. And then there is article fourth article is about center may introduce simultaneous election bill. So it is about simultaneous elections. So the article highlights here is, the union government is considering introduction of simultaneous election bill to hold Lok Sabha assembly and local body, state assembly and the local bodies concurrently. This proposal may be tabled during the ongoing winter session of the Parliament and subsequently referred to the Joint Parliamentary Committee for wider consultations. Okay, so the government also plans to consult assembly speakers and other stakeholders through parliamentary committees, while Ramanath Kovind led committee recommended phased implementation of simultaneous polls. The cabinet is yet to approve the proposed bill. The bill is there. A bill is to be introduced in the winter session. So there are going to be debates and discussions. Right now, we'll also have a discussion about simultaneous election. What are simultaneous elections? What are the pros and what are the cons of this? Okay, what is simultaneous election? Simultaneous election is nothing but holding the elections together or simultaneously for Lok Sabha, that is parliamentary elections, and state assemblies and local bodies. All three elections should be held together. Okay, that is simultaneous election. That is, it refers to conducting elections for Lok Sabha, state assemblies, and Lok Sabhas at the same time to streamline electoral processes. So, what are the positives? What do the proponents of simultaneous elections argue? They say that it is cost saving, meaning elections currently cost exchequer around 50,000 crore every 5 years. Simultaneous election can reduce this burden significantly. Okay, and then government efficiency. So what happens here is, because of frequent elections, there is more government and less governance. So according to this, if you are having simultaneous election for all the bodies together, then it will have more governance and less government. That is, frequent elections led to policy paralysis due to the model code of conduct. Simultaneous polls will allow the uninterrupted governance. Okay, for example, there is election at the Lok Sabha, and after the election to Lok Sabha, suppose there is election in state such as Karnataka. Okay, then there are main parties which are fighting the Lok Sabha, BJP Congress, and in Karnataka also BJP Congress along with JDS. So what they have to do is, if the BJP is ruling at the center, due to the elections in state government, elections in Karnataka state, they have to leave their governance and then come to Karnataka and do the election campaigning and etc. etc. So it is acting as an interruption in governance. So now, if you are holding the elections together, then it is going to reduce this interruption and it will have a efficient governance. Example: moral code of conduct halts development projects, especially in infrastructure and welfare schemes. Okay. Then reduce electoral fatigue. Frequent elections burden the voters, security forces, and the election commission. Synchronizing the polls simplifies the process. Okay, because of repeated elections, people who stay at another area and they have to go back to their own hometown and vote, they tend to ignore this election process because it has become tedious, it has become repetitive. So in order to reduce this tediousness or burden, we can have a simultaneous election. Then stronger national focus, that is, enables a unified agenda for development rather than fragmented governance cycles across the states. Okay, then we can have a discussion throughout the country itself instead of focusing on individual states. And what are the negatives of simultaneous election? That is, there is constitutional challenges. What is the constitutional challenge? This simultaneous election requires amendment to the constitution under articles 83, 85, 172, 174, 03, 55, which defines electoral election timings and legislative terms. Okay, so there is legislative term of 5 years for state legislative assembly, and there is 5 years for Lok Sabha. Suppose you want to bring all the state assemblies and bring all the local bodies together to have a simultaneous election, then you have to reduce the term of these state assemblies and local bodies. If you have to reduce the term of 5 years, then you have to amend these articles. Okay, and it is also against the ideals of federalism. State might lose autonomy if their elections are tied to the national elections. Okay, all the issues which are of the national characters become the front page and take the front stage during the elections, and the local issues or regional issues can be ignored during this. I have the chance of getting ignored during this kind of process. And then logistical challenges, that is, organizing polls for over 900 million voters in a single phase is daunting, which will require massive infrastructure and manpower. And then there is impact of accountability also, because state specific issues might get overshadowed by the national issues affecting the voters' decision making. This is very important. Okay, and then there are examples of divergence, because in 2019 States like Odisha held simultaneous polls for the Lok Sabha and Assembly. However, voting patterns for the two elections differed significantly, indicating voters' distinct priorities. Okay, this can be positive. Okay, meaning even if there is simultaneous election, people will vote depending on their need. They can vote for a political party at the Lok Sabha. They can vote for another political party at the regional, state legislative assembly elections. So, what should be the way forward? We cannot suddenly bring the simultaneous election. We cannot suddenly say tell to all the states, okay, stop here, whatever you're doing, start conducting the elections when we are conducting also. That will be very cruel, and that will be very daunting, and it will have many protests along throughout the country. So, what we need is, according to Ramanath Kovind committee, we need a phased approach could address the logistical and constitutional challenges. We can bring some states which have the term similar to Lok Sabha, which are remaining only with 1 year similar to Lok Sabha. Then those can be clubbed together and made one term. They can be conducted election on the same phase. Then they can be extended to other states also. Then building consensus among political parties and addressing federal concerns is crucial before implementing such a reform. Okay. This is the fourth article. Then there is fifth article. It is about, there is an editorial in Hindu. It talks about under 2.0, that is Trump 2.0, the world and the India outlook. So what are the impact of Donald Trump 2.0 and what is its impacts on the world and impact on the India? So the article says that Donald Trump's victory in 2014 was very significant. They compared it to the it compared him to the previous president Franklin D. Roosevelt. They said that it can be the most significant presidential term since Franklin D. Roosevelt. So, according to the other, the foreign key priorities for Trump are Europe and NATO. So, Trump is critical of NATO and Europe's defense policies, but unlikely to abandon Ukraine to achieve peace. Okay, he is not going to abandon Ukraine. Then he will push Europe to increase defense contributions while avoiding escalations into broader conflict. Okay, what is Trump's slogan? MAGA. What is MAGA? Not Kannada MAGA, it is English MAGA, that is Make America Great Again. According to him, he wants to make America great again. So he wants to take back all the soldiers which have been put outside the America, and he wants to bring back into their own state, their own country, and he wants other countries to contribute as well. He wants other countries not to depend on America completely. Okay. And regarding West Asia strategy, Trump may prioritize diplomatic resolution over prolonging conflicts in Israel and West Asia, avoiding alignment with the specific leaders like Netanyahu and Zelensky. And then he can also adopt a pragmatic approach towards Russia and Iran is expected, emphasizing reduced tensions. Okay. And then about confronting China, China is Trump's primary focus with plans for trade restrictions, higher tariffs, and export controls. Okay, because China has a higher trade surplus compared to with USA. Trump has always been critical about China, so he is going to have some ideas up his sleeve, so such as trade restrictions, higher tariffs, etc., etc. While avoiding rash military moves, Taiwan remains a potential flashpoint. Strengthening ties with Japan, Australia, and South Korea will bolster regional alliances to combat China. So, what about India and US relationships under Trump? Okay, under Trump, it is going to result in stronger ties. Shared leadership styles of Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, marked by a pro-China stance, could strengthen the partnership. Both are against China. Okay, both are against China strategy, so it could have a strengthen the partnership. And then past events like 2020 Namaste Trump rally symbolizes cordiality between two nations. Okay, and then defense and strategic cooperation. Trump will likely support the Quad alliance and bolster defense partnerships, including 1.17 billion MS-60R helicopter deal and other military corporations. So there will be more defense cooperation and strategic cooperation between India and USA can be expected in the coming days. The focus on counter-terrorism and security in the Asia-Pacific region is expected to intensify. And in technology and trade, Silicon Valley and Indian entrepreneurs will play a key role in cementing bilateral ties. Okay, Silicon Valley, it is not the Bangalore Silicon Valley, but it is the Silicon Valley of USA. Okay, which is characterized by high IT services. And then Trump's pro-innovation stance, coupled with India's growing tech influence, can accelerate cooperation in technology, trade, and economic balance. Okay, so the other says that Trump will have implications on all the players in the world, including Russia, including West Asia, including China, and including India also. But there are more positive for India compared to the negatives as such. So this is about editorial. Nothing more is present in the editorial. Now we will have some prelims bits. Certain things which are very important from prelims perspective. First one is about sacred groves. What are sacred groves? Sacred groves can harbor and support biodiversity and can also act as carbon sinks, but most of them are under threat today. This was the news article in the business standard, I guess. Okay, what are sacred groves? Sacred groves are patches of natural or near natural vegetation dedicated by local communities to their ancestors, spirits, or deities. Okay, so the conservation of forest or conservation of land here is related to the like supernatural, such as spirits, deities, etc., etc. In like these sacred groves are known by different names in different areas. In Kannada or in Karnataka, they are called as Devara Kadu. What is Devaru? Devaru is the god or deity. So it is called as God's forest. Okay. Similarly, different names are given by in different states. These groves are protected by the local communities, usually through customary taboos and sanctions with the ancestral and ecological implications. Okay, because they align the land or because they attach the land with the spirits, they are going to protect it with the sanctity, and they will do everything to protect the sanctity of the land. India has over 13,000 documented sacred groves. The states particularly rich in abundance groves are Kerala, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu. These are also known as Kavu, Sarpakavu in Kerala, Devarakadu or Devakadu in Karnataka, Deorai or Devarai in Maharashtra, Jharera or Thakuramma in Odisha, etc., etc. Okay. The degree of sanctity of the sacred groves varies from one grove to another. For example, the Garo and Khasi tribes of northeastern Indian states completely prohibit any human interference in the sacred groves. Okay, depends on the community and depends on the tribes which are protecting that sacred grove. Okay, and then the sacred groves are important repository of floral and faunal diversity that have been conserved by local communities in a sustainable manner. So they have high biodiversity and high environmental diversity. So they are often the last refuge of endemic species in the geographical region. This is also very important. So they play a very important role in conserving biodiversity. And another article for prelims, that is Markhor. What is Markhor? There was a news article in Down to Earth that the Markhor, a wild goat with a spiral shaped horns, was seen in a rare appearance in Norka village in Boniar Baramulla district of northern Kashmir recently. So there is an image of this. So this is Markhor, such a majestic animal. It is also called as screw horned goat because it is like horn is like screw. So it is also called as screw horned goat. So we'll try to understand about Markhor. What is Markhor? It is a large wild goat of the family Bovidae. It is known for thick fur, flowing beard, and corkscrew horns. Screw horns. It is a diurnal animal and is mainly active in the early mornings and late afternoon. And its geographical distribution is it is found in the moist to semi-moist or semi-arid mountain tracts of Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. Okay, in Jammu and Kashmir, Markhor's population is found in Sofian, the Banihal Pass, and the Samrari area of Kazianguri, Pir Panjal range, and Poonch. Okay, it is found in India, in Jammu Kashmir, in these regions. The Markhor, it is very important point. Markhor is the national animal of Pakistan, where it is also known as screw horn or screw horned goat. Okay, this is the conservation status is it is IUCN status is it is near threatened. It is protected under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, and it is under Appendix 1 of CITES. So it has high level of protection. Okay, high level of protection is there. And then is another article from the Press Information Bureau, that is Amrit Gyan Kosh portal. So recently, Union Ministry of Personal Union Minister of Personal Public Grievances and Pensions launched Amrit Gyan Kosh portal. So we'll see what is Amrit Gyan Kosh portal. It has been developed by Capacity Building Commission and Karmayogi Bharat. It is a platform to promote self-reliance in governance training and strengthen the governance training. It is developed on the iGOT platform, serves as a comprehensive repository of best practices in governance and policy implementation. It aligns with 15 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, covering critical themes such as health, education, agriculture, and digital governance. The curated resources enable faculty to align their teaching with the global standards while addressing India's unique administrative challenges. Okay, aim is to train the servants so that they meet the global standards and they perform well in their services. What is Karma Yogi Bharat? This is very important from mains perspective also. You can expect questions in governance part of the governance part in GS2 and GS4 also. So what is Karma Yogi Bharat? Under Mission Karma Yogi, a comprehensive institutional framework has been designed to deliver the program objectives effectively. The Karma Yogi Bharat is a special purpose vehicle that forms a key pillar of the institutional framework with an aim to operate the iGOT Karma Yogi platform, manage its overall governance, and ensure that it meets the objective of anytime, anywhere, any device learning for civil service officials to enhance their overall competency. Okay, this special purpose vehicle has been incorporated in the name of Karma Yogi Bharat under Section 8 of Companies Act of 2013 as a 100% government-owned profit company. Okay, so it is established as a profit-owned company under Government of India Act. So these are the articles which I found to be important for our UPSC journey. Okay, if you found this session helpful, then please hit on the like button and also do write your opinions in the comment box and also share with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. So with this, I will end the session. Jai Hind.